Live, going live, and we're live. Hey, babe.
Huh?
Why the fuck not?
What?
And I do want to say a very good evening to both of you, and it's uninterrupted to answer my first question The debate commission will then turn on their microphone only when it is their turn to answer, and the commission will turn it off exactly when the 2 minutes have expired. After that, those microphones will remain on, but on behalf of the voters, I'm going to ask you to please speak one at a time. The goal is for you to hear each other and for the American people to hear every word of what you both have to say. And so with that, if you're ready, let's start. And we will begin with the fight against the coronavirus. President Trump, the first question is for you. The country is heading into a dangerous new phase. More than 40,000 Americans are in the hospital tonight with COVID, including record numbers here in Tennessee. And since the two of you last shared a stage, 16,000 Americans have died from COVID. So please be specific. How would you lead the country during this next stage of the coronavirus crisis? 2 minutes, uninterrupted.
So, as you know, 2.2 million people modeled out were expected to die. We closed up the greatest economy in the world in order to fight this horrible disease that came from China. It's a worldwide pandemic. It's all over the world. You see the spikes in Europe and many other places right now. If you notice, the mortality rate is down 85%. The excess mortality rate is way down and much lower than almost any other country. We're fighting it, and we're fighting it hard. There is a spike. There was a spike in Florida, and it's now gone. There was a very big spike in Texas. It's now gone. There was a very big spike in Arizona. It's now gone. And there are some spikes and surges in other places. They will soon be gone. We have a vaccine that have Operation Warp Speed, which is the military had it. And I got better. And I will tell you that for a short period of time, and now they say I'm immune. Whether it's 4 months or a lifetime, nobody's been able to say that. But I'm immune. More and more people are getting better. We have a problem that's a worldwide problem. This is a worldwide problem. But I've been congratulated by the heads of many countries on what we've been able to do. And with the, if you take a look at what we've done in drills and masks and gowns and everything else, and in particular ventilators, we're now making ventilators all over the world, thousands and thousands a month, distributed all over the world. It will go away, and as I say, we're rounding the turn, we're rounding the corner. It's going away.
Okay, former President Biden, to you, how would you lead the country out of this crisis?
The sack of chicken. The sack of chicken.
220,000 Americans dead. And nothing else I say tonight. Do this. Anyone who's responsible for not taking control. In fact, not saying I take no responsibility.
Okay.
Anyone who's responsible for that many deaths should not remain as president of the United States of America. We're in a situation where there are 1,000
Well, I'm watching the final
day
debate between Joe Biden and Donald Trump.
Gizmo.
It's
Go
the
to the
first
bathroom.
time the candidates will
She can
lead
wait for a
on
few
stage
minutes.
since the end of September.
We're
There was
going
supposed to debate virtually last week after President Trump's COVID diagnosis, but the president canceled. 6 topics are expected to be covered tonight. They include fighting COVID-19, American families, race in America, climate change, national security, and certain portions of the debate. It's part of an effort to
doing that
the
to her?
debate rules, where
Even
both
though there's
candidates
just having
are
the
supposed to have
scruff.
2 minutes uninterrupted to respond to the question, followed by an open discussion.
I hate doing that
That
to
does
her.
not happen.
Gizmo, wait.
American people should speak. You should.
Babe, do you just want me to take him home, or are you coming with?
Let your senators know. You feel it. Vote now. Make sure you let people know.
She's got a voice though. Her bark is worse than yeah, she's just a hyper pup.
Gentlemen, I think
We had the TV up at like 80 and he didn't even.
All right, let's go.
I've done the TV all the once before. He's like, I didn't hear shit. How did you not hear it?
However, he does hear him when he starts yelling.
But there you see her inside.
But that's
the
because
debate.
he couldn't holler for his video games and whatnot. So
anyone who's responsible.
But he's getting used to that as well.
In the Army, I learned the true meaning of sacrifice.
Oh, shush. You doing all right though?
Yeah, I just
High as fuck.
You look high as fuck. Back's been killing me the last couple of days.
Okay.
I will let her out. Miss Whiny Wine. So I'm gonna have to use the restroom before coming down to the truck anyway.
Release the beast.
I will be right down.
All right.
Go first. You good girl. Oh, wallet. Back, back.
I was.
Stop.
Oh, it feels good in here.
Stop. Whoa, puppers. Whoa, puppers. Whoa, puppers. Calm down, sweetheart. I know. No. Sit. Good sit. Good
Stay.
girl. Stay. Good girl. Good girl.
And it's
My
not
mic was
the answer.
muted.
I mean, you're gonna sit
I'm
there
watching
and
the presidential
people
debate.
wrapped around
It's the last one.
Can you pause this
It's-
really quick?
These are businesses that are dying, Joe. You
Okay. Did I really just hear that? Like, seriously. Did he really just say to all you teachers out there,
do this. And that is not inconsistent with saying that what we're going to make sure that we open safely. And by the way, all you teachers out there, not that many of you are going to die, so don't worry about it. Come on.
President Trump, let me follow up with you quickly.
By the way, I will say this, if you go and look at what's happened to New York, it's a ghost town. It's a ghost town. And when you talk about plexiglass, these are restaurant.
I cannot believe that came out of his mouth.
Yeah, I know.
I would expect that from Trump, but Biden? Really?
Instead of dying, these are businesses with
Shit.
no money. Putting
We're
up
screwed either
plexiglass
way
is
this election
unbelievably
goes.
expensive. And it's
Just
not
like we were
the
the last
answer. I
one.
mean, you're gonna sit there in a cubicle wrapped around with plastic. These are businesses that are dying, Joe. You can't do that to people. You just can't. Take a look at New York and what's happened to my wonderful city for so many years. I loved it. It was vibrant. It's dying. Everyone's leaving New York.
Take a look
Vice
at what
President.
New York has done in terms of turning the curve down in terms of the number of people dying. And I don't look at this in terms of blue states and red states.
The mic was muted. That's my bad.
And look at the states that are having such a spike in the coronavirus. They're the red states. They're the states in the Midwest, they're the states in the upper Midwest. That's where the spike is occurring significantly. But they're all Americans. They're all Americans. And what we have to do is say, wear these masks, number one. Make sure we get the help that the businesses need that has money's already been passed to do
Biden
that.
is a piece
It's
of
been
shit,
out
and
there
so is
since
Trump.
the beginning of the summer, and nothing's happened.
President, New York has lost more than 40,000 people, 11,000 people in nursing homes.
President Trump, what
When you
about
say spike, take a look at what's happening in Pennsylvania, where they've had it closed. Take a look at what's happening with your friend in Michigan, where her husband's the only one allowed to do anything. It's been like a prison. Now, it was just ruled unconstitutional. Take a look at North Carolina. They're having spikes, and they've been closed, and they're getting killed financially. We can't let that happen, Joe. You can't let that happen. We have to open up. And we understand the disease. We have to protect our seniors. We have to protect our elderly. We have to protect especially our seniors with heart problems and diabetes problems. And we will protect it. We have the best testing in the world by
What they
far.
need to do
That's why we
is-
have so many cases.
Let me follow up with you
Freeze
before
all
we move on
prices.
to our next section. President Trump, this week you called Dr. Anthony Fauci, the nation's best-known infectious disease expert, quote, a disaster. You described him and other medical experts as, quote, idiots. If you're not listening to them, who are you listening to?
I'm listening to all of them, including Anthony. I get along very well with Anthony, but he did say,
Hey, Kim.
wear masks. He did say, as you know, this is not going to be a problem. I think he's a Democrat, but that's okay. He said, this is not going to be a problem. We are not going to have a problem at all. When Joe says that, I said, Anthony Fauci said,
Todd says, vote for me.
and I'm not
I'll write you in.
knocking him. Nobody knew. Look, nobody knew. what
I
this
would be
thing
a better
was. Nobody knew
president.
where it was coming from, what it was. We've learned a lot. But Anthony said, don't wear masks. Now he wants to wear masks. Anthony also said, if you look back, exact words, here's his exact word. This is no problem. This is going to go away soon. So he's allowed to make mistakes. He happens to be a good person.
Vice President Biden, your response quickly, and then we're going to move on to the next
My
section.
response is that think about what the president knew in January, he didn't tell the American people. He was told this was a serious virus that spread in the air, and it was much worse than the flu. He went on record and said to one of your colleagues, recorded,
Shush.
that in fact he knew how
Hold
dangerous
on,
it was,
yes.
but he didn't want to tell us. He didn't want to tell us because he didn't want us to panic. He didn't want us, Americans don't panic. He panicked. But guess what? In the meantime, we found out in the New York Times the other day that in fact his folks went to Wall Street and said this is a really dangerous thing. And a memo out of that meeting, not from his administration, but from some of the brokers said, sell short because we got to get moving. It's a dangerous problem.
Well, this is
I'm going to
what
give you
this
30
is what I
seconds to
have.
respond, and then we're
The
going
Wall
to
Street
move on.
one, I don't know. Somebody went to Wall Street. You're the one that takes all the money from Wall Street. I don't take it. You have raised a lot of money, tremendous amounts of money. And every time you raise money, deals are made. I could raise so much more money as president and as somebody that knows most of those people. I could call the heads of Wall Street, the heads of every company in America. I would blow away every record, but I don't want to do that because it puts me in a bad position. And then you bring up Wall Street. You shouldn't be bringing up Wall Street because you're the one that takes the money from Wall Street, not me. I could blow away your records that, like you wouldn't believe. We don't need money. We have plenty of money. In fact, we beat Hillary Clinton with a tiny fraction of the money that she was able.
All right, gentlemen, we're going to move on.
Average contribution, $43.
All right, we're going to move on to our next section, which is national security. And I do want to start with the security of our elections and some breaking news from overnight. Just last night, top intelligence officials confirmed again that both Russia and Iran are working to influence this election. Both countries have obtained U.S. voter registration information, these officials say, and Iran sent intimidating messages to Florida voters. This question goes to you, Mr. Vice President. What would you do to put an end to this threat? You have 2 minutes uninterrupted.
I made it clear, and I ask everyone else to take the pledge. I made it clear that any country, no matter who it is, that interferes in American elections will pay a price. They will pay a price. It's been overwhelmingly clear this election, I won't even get into the last one, this election, that Russia has been involved, China has been involved to some degree, and now we learned that Iran is involved. They will pay a price. If I'm elected, they're interfering with American sovereignty. That's what's going on right now. They're interfering with American sovereignty. And to the best of my knowledge, I don't think the president said anything to Putin about it. I don't think he's talking to him a lot. I don't think he said a word. I don't know why he hadn't said a word to Putin about it. And I don't know what he has recently said, if anything, to the Iranians. My guess is he'd probably be more outspoken with regard to the Iranians. But the point is this, folks. We are in a situation where we have foreign countries trying to interfere in the outcome of our election. His own national security advisor told him that what is happening with his buddy, I will. His buddy, Rudy Giuliani, he's being used as a Russian pawn. He's being fed information that is Russian, that is not true. And then what happens? Nothing happens. And then you find out that everything is going on here about Russia is wanting to make sure that I do not get elected the next president of the United States because they know I know them and they know me. I don't understand
and that's
why
why you've got Korea on your side.
When he's actually paying bounties to kill American soldiers in Afghanistan, when he's engaged in activities that are trying to destabilize all of NATO. I don't know why he doesn't do it, but it's worth asking the question. Why isn't that being done? Any country that interferes with us will, in fact, pay a price because they're affecting our sovereignty.
President Trump, same question to you. Let me ask the question. We're going to have 2 minutes to respond. For 2 elections in a row now, there has been substantial interference from foreign adversaries. What would you do in your next term to put an end to this? 2 minutes.
Well, let me respond to the first part as Joe answered. Joe got $3.5 million from Russia, and it came through Putin because he was very friendly with the former mayor of Moscow. It was the mayor of Moscow's wife, and you got $3.5 million. Your family got $3.5 million, and someday you're going to have to explain why did you get 3.5. I never got any money from Russia. I don't get money from Russia. Now about your thing last night, I knew all about that, and through John, who is John Redcliffe, is fantastic.
Because he trades with them.
The one thing that's common to both of them, they both want you to lose because there has been nobody tougher to Russia. Between the sanctions, nobody tougher than me on Russia.
Oh, shut up, Trump. You're nothing but Russia's bitch.
Between all of what I've done with NATO, I've got the NATO countries to put up an extra 130 billion going to $420 billion a year. That's to guard against Russia.
More like you forced them.
sold, while he was selling pillows and sheets, I sold tank busters to Ukraine. There has been nobody tougher on Russia than Donald Trump.
Who's the one selling American military to foreign countries?
He just fucking admitted it right there.
On live TV.
During your term, during you and Barack Obama, they took over a big part of what should have been Ukraine. You handed it to them, but you were getting a lot of money from Russia. They were paying you a lot of money, and they probably still are. But now, with what came out today, it's even worse. All of the emails, the horrible emails of the kind of money that you were raking in, you and your family. And Joe, you were vice president when some of this was happening, and it should have never happened. And I think you owe an explanation to the American people. Why is it? Somebody just had a news conference a little while ago who was essentially supposed to work with you and your family. But what he said was damning. And regardless of me, I think you have to clean it up and talk to the American people. Maybe you can do it right now.
Vice President Biden, you may respond.
Please do.
And then I do want to follow up on the election security.
I have not taken a penny from any foreign source ever in my life. We learned that this president paid 50 times the tax in China, has a secret bank account with China, does business in China, and in fact is talking about me taking money. I have not taken a single penny from any country whatsoever. Ever.
Liar.
Number one.
You have stopped.
Number two, this is a president I have released all
But
of
that's
my
still taking money from other countries.
22 years. Go look at it. 22 years of my tax return. You have not released a single solitary year of your tax return. What are you hiding? Why are you unwilling? The foreign countries are paying you a lot. Russia's paying you a lot. China's paying you a lot. And your hotels and all your businesses all around the country, all around the world. And China's building a new road to a new golf course you have overseas. So what's going on here? Why don't release your tax return and stop talking about corruption?
President Trump, your response.
First of all, I called my accountants under audit. I'm going to release them as soon as we can. I want to do it. And it'll show how successful, how great this company is. But much more importantly than that, people were saying $750. I asked them a week ago, I said, what did I pay? They said, sir, you prepaid tens of millions of dollars. I prepaid my tax. Tens over the last number of years. Tens of millions of dollars I prepaid. Because at some point they think it's an estimate. They think I may have to pay tax. So I already prepaid it. Nobody told me that. Nobody told you that. Excuse me. And it wasn't written whenever they write this. They keep talking about $750, which I think is a filing fee. But let me just tell you, I prepaid millions and millions of dollars in taxes. Number one. Number two, I don't make money from China. You do. I don't make money from Ukraine. You do. I don't make money from Russia. You made $3.5 million, Joe, and your son gave you.
I'm sorry,
have a
but I
statement
would Biden on this
that
one.
we have to give
Trump is getting
10%
money from all of
to
the
the big
countries.
man. You're the big man, I think. I don't know, maybe you're not.
And you just
You're the big
admitted to
man, I
one of
think.
your lies that
You
you
said
said
so we have to
3
give
years ago.
10% to the big
Yeah.
man.
That you're not
This is
selling
something
weapons to
it's
the
terrible.
Ukraine.
All right, gentlemen, I want to ask you both some
Country.
questions
I have
about
to
all of
respond.
this, but I'm going to let you both respond very quickly. You just said you spoke to your accountant
Yes.
about potentially releasing your taxes. Did he tell you when you can release them? Do you
When was the audit
deadline for
finished?
when you're going to release them?
I get treated worse than the Tea Party got treated. Because
you
I have a
don't
lot
have
of people in there, deep down in the IRS, they treat me horribly. We made a deal, it was all settled until I decided to run for president. I get treated very badly by the IRS, very unfairly. But we had a deal all done. As soon as we're completed with the deal, I want to release it. But I have paid millions of dollars, and it's worse than paying. I paid in advance. It's called prepaying your taxes. I paid in advance.
I want to ask you both about questions regarding your potential foreign entanglements and questions that have been raised to give you both a chance to talk about this more broadly. Respond very quickly, and then I'll get to my question.
Why did he's been saying this for 4 years? Show us. Just show us. Stop playing around. You've been saying for 4 years you're going to release your taxes.
To write
Nobody
someone
knows
in.
Because what they do know is you're not paying your taxes or your taxes. When last time he said what he paid, he said, I only pay that little because I'm smart. I know how to game the system. Come on. Come on.
Yeah, he did say
So,
that.
And President
Where's
Trump,
my
and I
note?
want to get to two questions.
Right there underneath Izzy.
I was put through a phony witch hunt for 3 years.
Oh, you would check my
It
ass.
started before I even got elected. They spied on my campaign. No president should ever have to go through what I went through. Let me just say this. Mueller and 18 angry Democrats and FBI agents all over the place spent $48 million. They went through everything I had, including my tax returns, and they
Give me a couple
found
minutes, I'll be right back.
absolutely no collusion and nothing wrong. 48 million. I guarantee you, if I spend 1 million on you, Joe, I could find plenty wrong. Because
All
the
right.
kind of things that you've done and the kind of monies that your family has taken, I mean, your brother made money in Iraq, millions of dollars. Your other brother made a fortune, and it's all through you, Joe. And they say you get some of it, And you do live very well. You have houses all over the place. You live very well.
All right, gentlemen, let me just ask some questions about all of this broadly. Vice President Biden, there have been questions about the work your son has done in China and for a Ukrainian energy company when you were vice president. In retrospect, was anything about those relationships inappropriate or unethical?
Nothing was unethical. Here's what to do. With regard to Ukraine, we had this whole question about whether or not, because he was on the board, I later learned charisma, and that somehow I had done something wrong. Yet every single solitary person that he was going through testifying under oath who worked for him said, I did my job.
I think everybody's done with both of them.
I carried out U.S. policy.
Yeah, one of them.
One single solitary thing without lying. Not a single thing.
Not unless everybody votes
The
for
guy
him.
who got in trouble.
Willie Nelson,
I
Cheech and Chong,
Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Snoop Dogg.
Arnold
which they
Schwarzenegger.
would not do.
He is actually for the legalization of cannabis.
Ever happened. My
Yes, I know
son has
this.
not made money in terms of this thing about, what are you talking about, China? I have not had, the only guy that made money from China is this guy. He's the only one. Nobody else has made money from China.
President Trump, let me ask my question to you.
But I just wonder one thing.
Very
His
quickly.
son didn't have a job for a long time, was sadly no longer in the military service. I won't get into that. And he didn't have a job. As soon as he became vice president, charisma, not the best reputation in the world. I hear they paid him $183,000 a month. Listen to this, $183,000, and they gave him a $3 million upfront payment.
All right.
And he had no energy.
I'm gonna let the vice president
That's
respond to that quickly, and then I need to get to a question from you very
No
quickly.
basis for that. No one said anything he did was wrong in Ukraine.
Okay, President Trump, this is for you. Since you took office, you've never divested from your business. You've personally promoted your properties abroad. A report this week, which was referenced, does indicate that your company has a bank account in China. So how can voters know that you don't have any foreign conflicts of interest?
I have many bank accounts and they're all listed and they're all over the place. I mean, I was a businessman doing business. The bank account you're referring to, which is everybody knows about it, it's listed. The bank account was in 2013. That's what it was. It was open to do. It was closed in 2015, I believe. And then I decided, because I was thinking about doing a deal in China like millions of other people. I was thinking about it and I decided I'm not going to do it. Didn't like it. I decided not to do it. Had an account open and I closed it.
Okay.
Excuse me. And then, unlike him, where he's vice president and he does business, I then decided to run for president after that. That was before. So I closed it before I even ran for president, let alone became president. Big difference. He is the vice president of the United States, and his son, his brother, and his other brother are getting rich. They're like a vacuum cleaner. They're sucking up
Okay,
money.
President Trump,
Everybody's-
thank you. We do
Not
need to
true.
move on. I do want to ask you, Vice President Biden, about China. Let's talk about China more broadly. There have, of course, President Trump has said that they should pay for not being fully transparent in regards to the coronavirus. If you were president, would you make China pay? And please be specific, what would that look like?
What I make China do is play by the international rules, not like he has done. He has caused the deficit of China to go up, not down, with China, up, not down. We are making sure that in order to do business in China, you have to give all your intellectual property, you have to have a partner in China. It's 51%. We would not do that at all, number one. Number two, we're in a situation where China would have to play by the rules internationally as well. When I met with Xi, when I was still vice president, he said, we're setting up air identification zones in the South China Sea. You can't fly through it. I said, we're going to fly through them. We just flew B-52 and B-1 bombers through it. We're not going to pay attention. They have to play by the rules. And what's he do? He embraces guys like the thugs like in North Korea and the Chinese president and Putin and others. And he approaches fingers out all of our friends, all of our allies. We make up we're 25% of the world's economy. We need to be having most of our friends with us saying to China, these are the rules. You play by them or you're going to pay the price for not paying by them economically. That's the way I will run it. And that's what we did and uphold these steel tariffs and a range of other things when we were president and vice president.
All right, let's talk about North Korea. Let's
You know, I have to respond to that.
Okay, very quickly, and then we're gonna move on to North
$1.5
Korea.
billion from China to manage after
true.
spending 10 minutes in office and being in Air Force Two. Number one. Number two, there's a very strong email talking about your family wanting to make $10 million a year for introductions.
President Trump, on China policy though, what
No, but wait a
specifically are
minute.
you gonna do? What specifically are you going to do to make China pay? You said you're gonna
First of
make
all,
them pay.
China is paying. They're paying billions and billions of dollars. I just gave
New
$28 billion.
sanctions? New sanctions?
I just gave $28 billion to our farmers.
Taxpayers'
China.
money.
Yep.
It's what?
Taxpayers' money.
It
No,
comes
no,
from
yeah, you
China.
know, the taxpayers, it's called China. China
Not
paid
true.
28 billion, and you know what they did to pay it, Joe? They devalued their currency, and they also paid up. And you know who got the money? Our farmers, our great
No, they
farmers, because they were targeted. You never charged them anything. Also, I charged them 25% on dumped steel because they were killing our steel industry. We were not going to have a steel industry.
Okay,
And now we have a steel
okay,
industry.
Vice President Biden, your response, please.
My response is no. This isn't about, there's a reason why he's bringing up all this malarkey. There's a reason for it. He doesn't want to talk about the substantive issues. It's not about his family and my family. It's about your family. And your family's hurting badly. If you're making less than, if you're a middle-class family, you're getting hurt badly right now.
Yeah.
You're sitting at the kitchen table this morning deciding, well, we can't get new tires to the ball because we have to wait another month or so. Or are we going to be able to pay the mortgage? Who's going to tell her she can't go back to community college? They're the decisions you're making. In the middle-class families like I grew up in Scranton and Claremont, they're in trouble. We should be talking about your families, but that's the last thing he wants to talk about.
I want to talk about North Korea. I do want to turn to 10 seconds, Mr. President,
It's
10
a
seconds.
typical political statement. Let's get off this China thing, and then he looks, the family, around the table, everything. This is a typical politician when I see that.
Let's talk
I'm
about
not a
North
typical
Korea.
politician.
Okay.
That's why I got elected.
Let's talk
Let's
about-
get off the subject
Oh my
of
gosh,
China.
you said
Let's
10
talk about
seconds. Shut the
sitting
fuck
around
up.
the table.
All right.
Come on, Joe, you can do that.
We're going to talk about North Korea now. President Trump met with North Korean leader Kim Jong-un 3 times. He's talked about your beautiful letters with him. He's touted the fact that there hasn't been a war or a long-range missile test. And yet North Korea recently rolled out its biggest ever intercontinental ballistic missile and continues to develop its nuclear arsenal.
Yep.
Do you see that as a betrayal of the relationship you
No.
forged? Just 30 seconds here because we need to get on to the next
So when I met with Barack Obama, we sat in the White House. Right at the beginning, had a great conversation. It was supposed to be 15 minutes, and it was well over an hour. He said the biggest problem we have with is North Korea. He indicated we will be in a war with North Korea. Guess what? It would be a nuclear war, and he does have plenty of nuclear capability. In the meantime, I have a very good relationship with him. Different kind of a guy, but he probably thinks the same thing about me. We have a different kind of a relationship. We have a very good relationship, and there's no war. And
Yeah,
you know,
probably
about
blow each other.
2 months ago, he broke into a certain area. They said, oh, there's going to be trouble. I said, no, they're not, because he's not going to do that. And I was right. Look, instead of being in a war where millions of people, Seoul, you know, is 25 miles away, millions and millions, 32 million people in Seoul, millions of people would be
Okay.
dead right now.
President
We
Trump,
don't have
that's
a war,
30
and I have a
seconds.
good
Thank you.
relationship.
Vice President Biden, to you, North Korea conducted 4 nuclear tests under the Obama administration. Why do you think you would be able to rein in this persistent threat?
Because I make it clear, which we're making clear to China, they had to be part of the deal. Because here's the thing, I made it clear, and as a spokesperson of the administration when I went to China, that they said, why are you moving your missile defense up so close? Why are you moving more forces here? Why are you continue to do military maneuvers with South Korea? I said, because North Korea is a problem, and we're going to continue to do it so we can control them. We're going to make sure we can control them and make sure they cannot hurt us. And so if you want to do something about it, step up and help. If not, it's going to continue. What has he done? He's legitimized North Korea. He's talked about his good buddy, who's a thug, and he talks about how we're better off. And they have much more capable missiles, able to reach U.S. territory much more easily than ever did before.
Let me follow up with you, Vice President Biden. You said you wouldn't meet with Kim Jong-un without preconditions. Are there any conditions under which you would meet with him?
On the condition that he would agree that he would be drawing down his nuclear capacity to get the Korean Peninsula should be nuclear-free zone.
All right, let's move on to American families.
They tried
Very
to meet
quickly,
with
10
him.
seconds,
They
President.
tried to meet with him. He wouldn't do it. He didn't like Obama. He didn't like him. He wouldn't do it.
Okay, I gotta give it a
They
chance to
tried.
respond to that
He
before we
wouldn't do
move
it.
on.
And that's okay. You know what, North Korea, we're not in a war. We have a good relationship. You know, people don't understand. Having a good
President
relationship
Trump,
with
we have to
leaders
move
of other
on, because
countries
we have
is
a lot
a
of
good thing.
we have a lot of questions to get
Yes,
to.
that's
That's
Your
like
response.
saying we had a good relationship with Hitler
My
before
ears are
he in
bleeding
fact
from all the
invaded
bullshit they're saying.
the rest of Europe. Come on. The reason he would not meet with President Obama is because President Obama said, we're going to talk about denuclearization. We're not going to legitimize you. We're going to continue to put stronger and stronger sanctions on you. That's why he wouldn't meet with us.
All right,
And it
let's
didn't
move
happen.
on. Let's
Excuse
move on
me,
and talk about
he left
American
me a
families.
mess, Kristen.
President Trump, okay, we do
They
need to move
left
on.
me a mess. North Korea was a mess.
We
And
need
in
to
fact,
move
if
on
you
so that
remember
we
the
can get
first
to all
2 or
of
3
our
months,
questions tonight.
there was a very
President Trump.
dangerous period in my first 3 months before we sort of worked things out a little bit. There was a they left us a mess. And Obama would be, I think, the first to say it was the single biggest problem he thought that our country.
Okay, let's move on to the affairs and the economy. One of the issues that's most important to them is healthcare, as you both know. Today, we have a new Supreme Court Justice, Amy Coney Barrett, and healthcare is at the center of her confirmation fight. Over 20 million Americans get their health insurance through the Affordable Care Act. It's headed to the Supreme Court, and your administration, Mr. President, is advocating for the court to overturn it. If the Supreme Court does overturn that law, those 20 million Americans could lose their health insurance almost overnight. So what would you do if those people have their health insurance taken away? You have 2 minutes uninterrupted.
First of all, I've already done something that nobody thought was possible. Through the legislature, I terminated the individual mandate. That is the worst part of Obamacare, as we call it. The individual mandate where you have to pay a fortune for the privilege of not having to pay for bad health insurance. I terminated, it's gone. Now it's in court because Obamacare is no good. But then I made a decision, run it as well as you can to my people.
Technically, Obamacare was
Run it
not
as
good
well as you can. I could have gone the other route
because
and
when
made everybody very
Obamacare came
happy.
out,
They ran it.
that's when the law
Premiums
of
are
you have
down,
to have
everything's down.
medical
Here's the
insurance or
No
you'll
matter
get
how well
slapped
you
with a
run it,
fine.
it's no
Yeah,
good.
that part I
We'd
don't
like
like.
to do.
So that's
But
what
you
he's
did
Terminate
get
it. We have the
your
individual
health
mandate.
insurance.
You know,
I don't know if it's going to work. If we don't win,
all I know is it's loud and it's very good.
But it'll be better right. But no longer is Obamacare because without the individual mandate, it's much different. Pre-existing conditions will always stay. What I would like to do is a much better healthcare, much better. Will always protect people with pre-existing. So I'd like to terminate Obamacare, come up with a brand new, beautiful healthcare. The Democrats will do it because there'll be tremendous pressure on them, and we might even have the House by that time. And I think we're going to win the House. Okay,
Yeah,
we'll
what
see,
about your
but I think
previous
we're gonna win
statement
the
in
House.
the past?
Come up with a better healthcare, always protecting people with pre-existing conditions. And one thing very
He
important.
said
we have
if
180
With
million
pre-existing
people out
conditions,
that
because
have
that is
great
actually one thing that
private
Obamacare
there,
did
far
not
more
cover.
than we're talking about with Obamacare.
Yeah, I understand that.
Joe Biden is going to
But
terminate
when
all
they
of
had their
those
last
policies.
debate,
These are people
Trump
that
specifically
love their
stated
healthcare.
by
People
getting
that have
rid
been
of
successful,
Obamacare
people
or free
been
health insurance,
successful. They have
it's going to be better for the economy because everyone's going to have to pay.
180 million people, families, under what he wants
He's
to do.
trying to
which
take
will
away free
basically
healthcare,
be
period,
socialized
and
medicine.
make us
We won't
all
have a
pay.
choice.
Yeah, true.
They want to terminate 180 million.
We won't be able
We
to
have
afford
done a
health
incredible
insurance,
job
and we
on
won't be able to
healthcare.
have it.
I know.
We'll do even better.
Okay, Vice President Biden, yes, this is for you. Your healthcare plan calls for building on
I'm having the
that.
rest
So
of
my question is, what is your plan if the law is ruled unconstitutional by the Supreme Court? You have
I'm
2
coming
minutes.
over here. I can't listen anymore.
Well,
That dribble.
Pass Obamacare public option. We come
I
back.
really can't
Public
either, but
option
I
is
kind of.
an option that says that if you in
If anything
fact
comes up that's
have
interesting, just
wherewithal
flag me over.
I honestly want to turn this shit off. If I'm honest.
in your state to get Medicaid, you
I got a
automatically
migraine from listening to those two idiots.
for insurance companies. That's what's going to happen.
I just need to know where my controller is. And I can go to the
It's over orange, my jacket, which is on the box.
Making sure that the competition that doesn't exist now by allowing the Medicare to negotiate drug prices with the insurance companies. Thirdly, the idea that I want to eliminate private insurance, the reason why I had such a fight with 20 candidates for the nomination was I support private insurance. That's why I did not one single person in private insurance would lose their insurance under my plan, nor did they under Obamacare. They did not lose their insurance unless they chose They wanted to go to something else. Lastly, we're going to make sure we're in a situation that we actually protect pre-existing. There's no way he can protect pre-existing conditions. None, zero. You can't do it in the ether. He's been talking about this for a long time.
Yeah, I can't listen to that anymore. Sorry. It's some good.
My name is Cameron. A lot of people know me as Kernovi online. I've been living around North Georgia about 9 years now.
Kernovi, RLCS champion.
I was actually shorter than this drawstring here. The light switch doesn't work. And we found out later I was not tall enough to reach the little pulley. So it just goes to show how long I've been in this house now. This was the room that I lived in for a very long time. I'm sure lots of you saw once I got my webcam, like this kind of generic background and the door and all the trophies in the back and stuff. I started karate when I was 7, and I got my black belt when I was 15. You learn a lot about discipline, about respect, especially for your opponents. I think what I learned throughout the years of training has influenced the way I act towards a lot of my other opponents in online games. My mom and dad have always been really supportive no matter what we've done, me and my sister. My sister is 2 years younger than me, and I have always tried to set the bar for her. I've definitely tried to be, that responsible bigger brother in just about everything I do. Mom and dad understand that I'm very competitive and that I really, truly want to be very good at what I do. And they reinforce that as much as I can because they want to see me succeed. Both my parents watch at work quite often and lurk in the chat. You don't have to worry about it. I can't time anyone out for saying, oh, this guy sucks. And then my mom's like, oh, that's my son. No, you can't say that. Band, that's not going to happen. Don't worry about it. In middle school, I played plenty of soccer. I really enjoyed that. I think that's why I like Rocket League.
Bye-bye. Yeah, I'm going to hop off
In
here.
high school, I played a bit of football.
I think that it's a good idea that I hop off as well. Good night, everybody. Get some good sleep. Peace, love, and pot. Oh, and if you're wondering how I got the weed, the buddy of mine who came over, who asked us for a ride back to his place, was the one who gave it to me. Thanks. Much love, everybody.